Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Taurus. If Taurus is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. And so, our card tonight is the Magus, or the Magician. And let's see what these tea leaves have to say in relation to that Magus energy. Okay. So, if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. And it is free to subscribe. Okay, so I see it too immediately. We have a very clear, very clear 2 right there. Okay, so we also have repeating R. We have an R here, and we have, where did you go? Right here. We have an R right here. It looks like LR even, but 2 R's kind of mirroring one another. We also have an 8. So we had the 2, we had RR, and an 8. The first thing I want to look at here is it looks like we have, it looks like a witch. I mean, just kind of the character of a witch. With the head, the hat, legs kicked up, kind of maybe dancing. It looks like maybe a cat even right down here, and holding a baby. Okay, we have a baby right here. It almost looks like the baby has a tail too. So I think this is kind of it almost seems kind of tongue-in-cheek to me, but kind of lovely as well. We have this kind of idea of it feels like having a deep relationship with a mother being or archetype, caretaker, mentor, somebody, but being able to connect in a way that maybe is out of the mainstream, maybe is kind of very personal to, whatever, a way of living or believing or thinking or, whatever it is. But kind of really being deeply on the same, wavelength and yeah, having like this very special connection. And I would not be surprised if you were some kind of magical practitioner, maybe not a witch, but somebody who is spiritual. I like the archetype of the witch, or even kind of the crone, who is kind of hung with the name of witch, right? That lives like on the outskirts of society, of town, of the tribe, is somebody that isn't fully embraced, but kind of in more one-on-one secret relationships are formed with the community and these practitioners, if they are doing herbal, medicine or magic, alchemy, if they're shaman or medicine people, an old school witch, or often also in times past would be maybe a midwife or somebody who specialized in women's health or the health of young children. Okay. So, there's kind of this feeling of, and this is a trope or kind of an archetype in the mythologies or stories that we tell. And it is that, these beings, not always women, of course, but often so, yes, are kind of cast out or pushed into living deeply into the outdoors, in the forest, in the where things are dark and haunted, and all these kinds of stories. And but I like to reframe this in my mind often as this is where one might really feel more at home, right? Where you can exist unseen, unwitnessed. You do your work. It maybe is not understood. It is demonized that, maybe by some people. But truly a member of the community and somebody who often cares for the disenfranchised, for those who don't know where else to turn, those who have not been educated in these practical ways of healing self or taking care of aspects of living or spiritual, ordeals and so on. So I can understand that maybe you are somebody who has this kind of sewn into your blood, right? Maybe this is something that has run through your ancestry, a position within the community that has been taken up over and over again, even if it has been forgotten. It has this silly way of kind of just popping back up. And, and then being able to raise up the youth around you, if they are your children or not, family or friends, children, and so on, but raising them to not necessarily need to abide the constraints of popular culture or, the kind of, standard or whatever that means. So I do see, and also I imagine that this young person who you are, and I feel probably that you are a parent or a direct caretaker of, seems to be one that maybe is very intelligent. They're a very intelligent being, maybe a little bit of mischief, right? And so we do have that little tail there. Maybe sometimes getting in a little bit of trouble, not a lot, just a little bit. So let's see, what else do we have? Okay. Yeah, and here we have that mother archetype again. So we have a person here, and then beneath the legs we have the child. Okay, so it's like kind of this birthing scene. So I wonder if there is a child, in your life. Maybe they're even an adult by now. It could be your own child, or maybe there's a child coming into the family, your own, or a grandchild, a niece or a nephew or something. But there is a distinct feeling of new life coming, and being protected as well. We have a person here and a person here kind of holding up this I guess, cradle or whatever the child is sitting in. And so really being surrounded by direct community and being watched over, being cared for, everybody kind of coming together to, help support mother and child in this. And so, I don't know that this is something happening exactly right now, or if this is something that you are kind of reliving. You are spending your time kind of thinking about these things that happened in the past, or maybe even that you had wished for and they have not, or they will not, be coming in this life cycle. But whatever it is, I think that you are really in tune with that kind of primordial mother. And I feel like there's this distinct, in my mind, I think, oh yes, like very connected with the mysteries of parenthood, of bringing life into the world. And again, this doesn't mean that you have had to birth the child yourself, but to have taken part in raising, being there to help guide, and really, protect that protective instinct, the thing about being in this archetype as well is that it's not always like little sweet, baking cookies and all ponies and rainbows and this kind of thing. The archetype of the mother, the grandmother, is one that is, there is a darkness and what we would consider a darkness, right? But what this is there is an understanding of the variety of life, that there are many dangers, there are many things that could occur, there are heartbreaks, there's devastation, and that nothing is forever. So there's this aspect of what is built will be destroyed, and what is destroyed will be repurposed to build the next. And the mother archetype is wholly aware of this, wholly aware of the cycles, the ebb and flow, are, the body of a lunar goddess, which is kind of the more overt version. It is the phases of the moon, and so the phases of the body, right? And with all of the things that the cycles. Okay, so there is this ever change, and I think that this is part of what makes you such a profound teacher, such a profound, the witch, the shaman, the medicine person, whatever it is, clairvoyant, intuitive, healer, the many things that you might be or strive to become. You have a deep relationship with these ancient mysteries, and you are very aware of them, and they come through the work that you do and how you relate to others. You have the ability to communicate in a way that is so rare, and so I see in this time there really is this sense of taking care of connecting, of being heard deeply, in a way that, often I think with the wisdom to share your insights, they often will be dismissed. They often will be ignored until, the person comes around to living these things out themselves so that they can understand what your words truly mean. And I think this is the case. I think that, you know, probably more than once in your life, you've had somebody you've talked to, given advice to, whatever it is, and they didn't understand. They said, okay, I hear you. I'm going to do what I want to do. And, you know, I'll take into consideration what you're telling me. And then later on down the road, they come back to you and they tell you, I didn't listen to what you told me, but I should have, because you were absolutely right. And so I think that you have this kind of, people know you as somebody who you give good advice. You see things in a way that most people don't. So you also have an understanding and advice that maybe really cuts through all of the other stuff, but it's difficult, right? Sometimes the path that is straight through, that is the difficult, and not many people are looking for the difficult. They want the easy answer. They want the answer they want to hear. Well, you don't always have that answer. Rarely do you, right? So let's see what else. We have that R, and it's so interesting because it looks like somebody kind of kneeling beneath it. And then we have a person kneeling here. Over here we have a little dog, okay? And so I wonder, I'm going to take a drink. And so I wonder, what is this? What is this R word? Is this a name? Is it a sacred utterance? There's a devotion to it, though. This is something that really I can see is so meaningful to you. And I look over here, we have a snail. We have these dolphins. We have a hen, dolphins, and a snake. We have an apple. So up here, I'm looking and we have the apple. So the apple really, it has so much to do with not necessarily any kind of great, so if you're sick or you have some kind of chronic pain or chronic ailment, when we see the apple, it is not like, okay, so now you're going to be healed of all of that. It's going to disappear, whatever. That's not what I see when I see that. But I do see it as a period of ease within whatever is going on. Okay. So the flare-ups are, diminished and just a kind of stable time period. Okay. Where you're feeling pretty good. Right? And if you don't have health issues, it will just be kind of a continued period of feeling pretty decent. Okay. And so, I feel like when I'm seeing these two figures kind of on their knees here in this devotional posture, it makes me think this is a time for really balancing the mental health with the spiritual health, with the physical. Okay, so really, sometimes we can get into these periods of time where we really just want to be creative. We want to spend all of our time in these spiritual sectors. We're having a lot of revelation and inspiration, but we must take care of our mental health and we must take care of our physical well-being as much as we can, right? And I always promote good health or good sleep for health, right? Good sleep schedules. That is one of the number one things. If we are not getting enough sleep, if we're not getting restful sleep, our stress levels go up. The cortisol goes up. We absolutely, are on edge after a while. And we know stress is the number one thing that feeds into so many other ailments. So we have to take care of our sleep, doing some kind of intentional movement to your level of ability, getting outside, getting fresh air as much as you can, and checking in with yourself, definitely checking in with your support people, making sure that you're trying to stay in some kind of routine as much as I don't know what your life is set up like, but I know for myself, and especially because I'm neurodivergent, and most of my life I lived somewhat chaotically. My jobs were always kind of at weird hours, and it was going from one to another, and I would sleep when I could, and just kind of whatever. And I couldn't figure out why I just absolutely felt discombobulated all the time. And as I got older, I realized that I'm a person that thrives in routine. Do I like routine? No. I want to be up whenever I want to be up. I want to sleep when I want to sleep. And I don't want anybody telling me what I need to do. But unfortunately, that's not how, I don't thrive well under those conditions. So, and I think this is probably true of most people. Okay, so even just having a small, pretty loose routine, really important, okay? Now we're looking at the dog. So I do feel like there's a sense of you really having somebody in your life who is quite loyal to you. You are quite loyal to them. This is your ally. This is a person I think you should be spending time with. I think you know who they are. And I see them close to these other formations, the apple and the R and the devotional. So I think this is somebody who has common interests. They have common goals. I think this is somebody who, when you are really kind of actively in their life and they're actively in your life, you motivate one another, okay? So I think this is a good person to have around. Now, over here we had the hen. So this is a sign of great prosperity, of fertility. And then we have the two dolphins. So those are signs of psychic abilities, clairvoyance, deep emotional connections. And so I feel like this really is a time where, as we talked about with that kind of magical figure and with the magician, a lot of psychic events happening. I think that you're feeling very, almost sometimes overwhelmed by it, maybe getting a lot of data coming in, experiencing things that maybe feel kind of uncanny, maybe some synchronicities, and you maybe get to a point where you're like questioning yourself, is this really meaningful, or am I just kind of applying meaning to something that doesn't make sense really? It's just random stuff. Either way, I don't think any of that really matters. What matters is what are the impressions? What are the lessons? What is coming through to you? Okay, that's what's important, the substance of the thing. So I think it's important maybe to keep track of that by writing it down, okay? And looking for things that stand out to you, okay? Sometimes when we're experiencing like a lot of visions or dreams or visitation and so on, we're in it. So it's hard to have a kind of a you know, zooming out and having a greater perspective. So when we write these things down, it's easier to go back and look at it and think, okay, well, I see kind of, you know, some commonality between the things that that were coming through, some of the information, some of the revelations and things. And then you can kind of, you know, sort through that and figure out maybe what does this mean in a larger scale. Now we also have the snake, so that again is knowledge. We have that real fiery serpent knowledge coming through, and I feel like you really kind of are on fire, right? You have like all the chakras are aflame, and yeah, I'm feeling really alive within your life, you know, and navigating things like, you know, like on the Matrix or whatever. You're really like awakened to what you might be anticipating and able to kind of navigate that in a way that is really effective. Okay, so now, again, we have an R, but this one is backwards. Now we have another R down here. So R and R really seems like it's super important. I don't know if it's a name or a word or what. But we also have a bell, and we have a blackbird. So the blackbird for me means often that you're on the right path. When I see blackbirds, crows, ravens, even my favorite birds, grackles, I think, okay, now I know I'm in the right place. I'm going down the right path here. Now with the bell, there is kind of a dispersion of negative or stagnant energies. Okay, so you can think of like a clearing bell, something you would keep maybe on your altar. And so this maybe is a good time to go through your house and clear out some of the energies. You know, one of the things I always mention when we talk about this is opening your windows. If you have a time in the day that is warm, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, a time of the day when it's cool enough to open the windows, definitely try to get some fresh air through the house. Get out all of that old stagnant air. I'm one of those people. I'm the terrible house guest or visitor, if I know you well enough, of course. But I will come into your house and start opening windows immediately, you know, and I don't really even ask. And that is probably the like the least proper thing I do in life. Just come in and start opening. Oh, okay, we got to get some energy moving out of here. We need some new energies coming in, right? We got to get this house cleared out. Yeah. So, and you'd be surprised, you know, if you're not in the habit of bringing fresh air in as much as possible. When you do, and I try to, if I can, if the weather permits, I'll do it every single day, as much of the day as I can. But it changes, I think, how you feel. It really does. And I think more clearly. I do. I also like to hear the sounds outside. And now you maybe live in a city and there's a lot of noise pollution, you know, but I don't know, you get used to that when you're in the city for very long. So, but yes, get the energies, or if you have a bell, or if you have some other way that you like to clear energies, I think it's a good time for that. Okay, Taurus, let's take a look. We have the Mary Magdalene Oracle cards, and these are from Megan Watterson. Illustrations by Moonjube. Okay, and we're just going to flip through here real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. And it says, for where the nous is, there is the treasure. The eye of the heart. We contain the treasure. We contain the treasure. And now, so I forget, the nous, I believe, is the interior room that holds the physical representation of spirit, or the Shekinah, I think it's called. And sometimes I think it's like a pyre, or like a little fireplace. Oh, don't you do that to my bird, little miss. Come here. Anyway, so I think, and I believe, because let's see. Oh, I guess it means the mind or intellect. Intelligence. Intellect or intelligence. But I'm going to look it up as part of a temple, because I believe I really thought it was like the monk's cella. Well, I'll have to look at oh, maybe I'm thinking, maybe it's another spelling. I know, I'm Googling. I'm sorry, you guys. It's hard to find anything quickly. Yeah, I think I'm wrong. I'm not going to read the whole Wikipedia. But yes, it has to do with like higher intellect. I think it's not unlike maybe the daemon. The mind or thought or reason. The mind's eye. Okay. All right. Well, I learned something new. I see the word. I've seen the word many times. I guess I don't know. Not good with words. All right, Taurus, thank you so much for spending this last little bit with me, this whole reading with me. Can you tell it's been a long day? I had the first panic attack I've had in ages. I get anxiety and anxiety attacks, but I had a full body panic attack today, and it was like really, I was shocked. I mean, and that made it worse because it's been so long since I've had one, and it came out of nowhere. I mean, it was chaos, but the environment was chaos. So and there it is. I didn't get any good sleep last night, so I feel burnt today. So I thank you for spending the time with me, getting through this thing with me. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps the channel. If you haven't subscribed, think about doing that. It is free to subscribe. And if you want to leave a comment, please do. I would love to hear from you. And if you have a small business or a channel and you want to advertise it, go over to the community post section. There is a post up. It should be at the very top. And that is a place where you can comment the details of your business or channel and put it there. So maybe you'll get some views or subscribers or whatever through this channel. Also, My husband over at Dove and Serpent Tarot, he has the same post up. He has lots of subscribers. And so if you want to post your info over there as well, even more people will see it. And I like to just do these posts because you all support us. You're here, you're spending time with us. And so I would love to support your endeavors as well. Okay, I want to say thank you again. I love you. Take care of yourself. We're going to talk in a few days. Say goodbye, T.